checking all those words that were coming on the screen there. It was rather scary, wasn't it? But life can be. Jack Fonseca, project manager, whatever that is, Campaign Life Coalition. He joins us for Moral Maze. We have different people every 3 or 4 weeks. Let's begin with, and this must have been very painful for you, because I know you're a Catholic as well. People were misinterpreting, deliberately sometimes, out of ignorance on others, what Pope Francis said in an interview. And it was, the Pope had said, stop being obsessive about abortion and same-sex marriage and contraception. Now, it's your job to be obsessive about those issues. What was actually said, and actually, to illustrate this, let's show a picture that was put out. This is an ad that was taken out, I think, by the National Pro-Abortion Organization. Dear Pope Francis, thank you. Signed, pro-choice women everywhere. Now, I suppose that's trying to rub salt into a wound, but that's a total misunderstanding of what was said, surely.
Yeah, it's a deliberate distortion and misrepresentation. Unfortunately, the way the Pope worded it, he said nothing wrong in my view, nothing terribly wrong.
Nothing terribly wrong, well, thank you.
Well, there was nothing inaccurate in what he said. It was distorted, hijacked, and unfortunately he played into the anti-Catholic media's hands. And you know, what he actually said was, what he was trying to do was emphasizing the priority for bishops and priests to proclaim Jesus Christ and his gospel of salvation. That's the main priority. And all the other things are important, but secondary, of course, to proclaiming Jesus Christ first. Yeah. And I agree with that. But what the media ran with, they've been going around telling Catholics all over the world, and even beyond the Catholic world, that what the Pope was saying is stop talking about abortion, gay marriage, and contraception. Let's just talk about the fluffy stuff. And that's not what was. Yeah. That's not what the Pope said.
No, it's not. I mean, I wouldn't call fluffy understanding the Gospels and so on. I think also what he was saying, it's a 10,000-word piece, and it takes a bit of time to read it, but it's worth reading. It's quite extraordinary. He was saying, we've got to have the conversation. It's no good just saying, we're here, you're there, and this is what we believe, and you're not coming in. We've got to have the conversation. Now, once we have that, you might not like what we're saying, and you may still go away, but at least listen to us, at least have this exchange of language. It was handled, 10,000 words, probably a couple of hundred, if that, dealt with these issues. But they were the only words that were actually listened to by mainstream media, who then tell people like you, condemn you for being obsessive. Yeah. He also spoke about confession, how we need to confess sins. He said he was a loyal son of the church. And the day after this was released, this interview, he saw a group of Catholic doctors and condemned the evil of abortion.
In very strong language. He talked about how unjustly children in the womb are aborted, and this is unjust. They have
a throwaway society.
Yeah, he called it a throwaway society. So he condemned abortion in very strong language the day after the media ran, saying he doesn't want any priest to talk about abortion. So it's a total lie. And the only thing I could say about the Pope's handling of the situation is that I think he's perhaps naive in underestimating how the media will distort his words and use it against the church. And
I think that's true. And I also wonder, the timing seems to me very strange. And I think probably some people have some explaining to do, because bishops and cardinals and Vatican officials, I don't think they were aware it was going to actually be made public at that point. And the New York Times seemed to have it extremely early, before other people in authority had it, because it does take interpretation. And he's a very trusting man. This is what I really believe. It had been vetted. These are my beliefs. But again, you take out of context, and then unscrupulous people try and exploit. I suspect damage has been done. Yeah, I suspect damage has been done.
I suspect damage has been done to the pro-life movement and to the church itself, because you know, a lot is being made of, the media's reporting his comment about the moral edifice of the church may collapse like a house of cards if we don't find the right balance. And the exact opposite is true if pastors and bishops were to stop preaching about the moral issues. Because once, you know, if they were to just be silent on all these issues, of course, many people in the pews are partaking in these activities which the church deems sinful. And if they don't hear from the pulpit an explanation that is logical, that appeals to natural law, that appeals to reason, and to the conscience that's planted deep within them by God,
which you spoke about just last week.
About why these activities are morally wrong, then they end up thinking, well, it can't be that serious.
It could
be. And not only that, but also maybe it's just man-made rules. And once people arrive at that mental attitude, they've got one foot outside the church door. They're very close to saying, well, if that's man-made, maybe everything the church is saying is made up as well.
Possibly. I mean, when I read the interview, what struck me, and I'm hardly a theologian, but it seemed that nothing he said was fundamentally different from that said by Pope Benedict. But Pope Benedict, bless him, was so badly treated that the media created this false narrative as soon as he came into office that he was this bad man, this bad German man, and everything he said was wrong. A man of enormous compassion. Many of his statements, if you actually read them, you think, my golly, they're very left-wing, aren't they? But he preached grace and love and forgiveness and understanding, but nobody would listen. Pope Francis is a man of equal compassion and love. Maybe he was just perhaps a little too trusting when he gave this extraordinary interview, which I think is marvelous, but assuming it will be listened to and read instead of exploited and manipulated.
Far too trusting. These are people the people who ran with it are the enemies of the church, people in the liberal mainstream media who despise Catholic teaching.
The ones who misinterpreted. Many people, others who are wonderful people, have actually understood it, and it's energizing them. They feel so alive because of it as well.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that's in that interview that none of the media talked about, the Pope, what he said is, if we proclaim Jesus Christ boldly in his gospel of salvation, the moral things will follow. The belief in the moral precepts of the church will follow as well. So he's not saying don't talk about it. He's saying let's find the right balance.
All this time we couldn't get to bridal shop refuses to let transgender shopper try on gowns. We didn't get to mum and dad plan to have sex with their kids before they were born.
Shame.
And outdoor Christmas decorations banned. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Michael.